On today's news, there's been a bunch more WWE releases, as appears to be the standard for 2021. The reason for those releases has been revealed, and my review of last night's SmackDown. I was going to do a really funny bit about getting you to subscribe today, but with all the releases, it doesn't quite seem appropriate. But just trust me, it was the funniest thing you'd ever seen. You should still subscribe though.
Support WrestleTalk!
It's 2021. You know what that means. It means it's time for WWE to start stripping away and getting rid of all the talent they hoarded in years gone by, including some truly shocking names. This trend continued last night with a dozen more names from NXT being let go from the company. The full list of released wrestlers from yesterday is former NXT North American Champion Bronson Reed, former North American Champion Leon Ruff, Tyler Rust, former Retribution member Mercedes Martinez, Bobby Fish, Ari Sterling, Jake Atlas, Kona Reeves, Zechariah Smith, Asher Hale, Giant Zangier, Stephen Smith, and Desmond Troy. Bronson Reed is the most shocking name on this list for a few reasons. He was North American Champion until the end of June. He just had a match with Adam Cole on NXT, and he reportedly was having dark matches in preparation of being called up to the main roster, at the same time as current NXT Champion Karrion Kross. He's also a big lad, so you'd have thought that Vince would have been all over him. Mercedes Martinez was a fairly protected wrestler, having feuds for the NXT Women's Championship before unfortunately being concussed recently in a match against Xia Li. Tyler Rust had just debuted for NXT as part of Roderick Strong's Diamond Mine faction that now consists of him, Malcolm Bivens as a mouthpiece, and Hideki Suzuki as his trainer. Bobby Fish was part of Undisputed Era, and since his return to NXT following a nasty injury at TakeOver War Games last year, he's done essentially nothing, including a match with former Era buddy Roddy Strong, which was almost a throwaway match on this week's episode. Ari Sterling and Jake Atlas had both been featured performers on NXT, and you couldn't escape Kona Reeves on NXT for a while. Both Sterling and Asher Hale had only signed with NXT in January this year. These releases don't make any sense, but that's par for the course for WWE this year, doing a bunch of stuff that doesn't make any sense. However, the reason for these releases is not the same budget cuts reason that's been used for a lot of other wrestlers this year. Instead, PW Insider is reporting that WWE has plans to repackage NXT with a new logo, new lighting, and a different format to shows, with an emphasis on highlighting younger talent going forward. The house cleaning, and I use that term incredibly lightly, appears to be part of heading towards that direction. I don't hate the idea of a repackaged NXT, as its shine has definitely been rubbed away in recent years. I do hate the idea of releasing Bronson Reed. I love Bronson Reed. This company. But one wrestler it seems WWE are incredibly keen on keeping around is Adam Cole, whose future is up in the air. Reports emerged that AEW had offered Cole a contract, which Tony Khan has refuted on Boston Open Radio, with Fightful Select reporting that Cole and AEW haven't had a formal conversation yet. And now with Cole's contract extension coming up soon, it seems WWE have taken the next step into attempting to secure Cole's services for the future. According to Fightful Select, Adam Cole was called to SmackDown last night to have a high-level meeting with Vince McMahon himself, bringing out the big guns. I suppose there is a glimmer of hope that if Cole does get called up to the main roster, they might be more inclined to treat him well after all they've gone through to ensure he stays in the company, but then again, it's WWE, innit? And now it's time for a review of last night's episode of SmackDown in about 5 minutes. Thank you for being awesome pledge hammers on Patreon. He's a sexy man. Sexy man. Not an Andrew Gross man. And fantastic Mr. Good Old Fox. You can get your own shout out by joining us at patreon.com/WrestleTalk. We kick off SmackDown with Boss Time. That's an actual quote from Michael Cole. I hate it. After commentary recaps the Banks turn from last week, you know what we need? A recap package showing the thing they just described. Boy, this is going to be a good show, isn't it? Banks cut a promo saying that Bianca would be nothing without her, before Bianca herself came out and retorted saying she wants to fight Banks at SummerSlam. But not so fast, because here's Zelina Vega saying, hold on, you accepted my challenge last week, Bianca, so when's my title shot? Bianca said fine, she'll fight Banks at SummerSlam, and she'll fight Zelina tonight for the championship. Okay, that's cool. We like a fighting champion. And then the graphic came up that it'll be Belair versus Vega for the title tonight. Great. And then Michael Cole said it'll be Bianca Belair versus Sasha Banks tonight. Come on, Cole. But then, later in the show, commentary quickly tells us with a new graphic that the match has been changed to a championship contenders match, which I know has been on Raw, but this is the first time one has been on SmackDown, so I'm going to say my thoughts on it. Championship contenders matches with the champion already in the match is one of the dumbest ideas this company has ever done, for sake. So why has this match become a contenders match? Well, Zelina Vega finds Adam Pearce and Sonya Deville backstage to question them about it, and they say, no word of a lie, well, they can't just give a title match on TV with no promotion. Since when? They do title matches on TV without promotion all the time, and this is on the same show where Shinsuke Nakamura faced Apollo Crews for the Intercontinental Championship with no promotion. I'm being gaslit. What is this company? Anyway, that match is later. First, we've got to get to a recap of the Mysterios versus Usos feud, and then before we have a match between Dominic and Jay, because that's one of the combinations of Mysterios and Usos we haven't had yet, Ray asked Dom backstage, why did you challenge Jay? And Dom says, I'm just doing what you taught me, and getting in Jay's head. What does that even mean? Get in Jay's head by having a match with him? I don't... What? They're just words. There's no meaning behind any of it. Jay versus Dominic then happened for basically no reason, because we've got to keep that plate spinning for SummerSlam, and the only way WWE knows how to do that is to keep having the same match, but with slightly different competitors, and Jay won after a few minutes. After a recap of Rollins and Edge backstage says he's gonna wait for Rollins to get here and then he's gonna do something. I don't know. I was so checked out of the show, and it's only like 15 minutes in. As mentioned before, Shinsuke Nakamura then faced Apollo Crews for the Intercontinental Championship, but did he really? Because this match went for about a minute, nothing really happened, the crowd weren't into it at all, and then Commander Aziz caused the DQ, and then Boogs played his guitar, and literally nothing has changed since the start of this segment. In other words, a complete waste of time. After another recap package of the contract signing from last week, where the dastardly heel John Cena stole babyface Finn Balor's title opportunity, Paul Heyman then speaks to Kayla Braxton and says the contract situation is a joke because Cena signed a contract that wasn't his. Yes, Paul Heyman is right. Cena should not have this match. This isn't a heel having some sort of justification for their actions. This is just the heels being right and the babyfaces being wrong. Big E then laughs at Paul Heyman holding the briefcase. Cool. Tamina then faced Tegan Nox in a quick match where Tamina got shot by the tank, which somehow wasn't a DQ. Do I even care anymore? Edge then came out, and I really enjoyed this promo segment. Genuinely. Edge wants a SummerSlam match with Rollins, who comes up on the Tron and says that he'll think about it, but Edge should think about it too. Think about what he's getting into, and his future as a husband, as a father. Edge snaps at this comment and fires back, calling Seth Edge Light. And this enrages Seth, who accepts Edge's SummerSlam match. I really like both the promos here, and I like that each of them knows how to get under the other one's skin. This is good. Kayla Braxton backstage asks Finn Balor a question, but Finn cuts across her like a dick. Finn, last week, Kayla, stop! That's an actual direct quote. Thankfully, Balor is actually mad at John Cena. Thank God. Not all the characters are really stupid. That's nice. The Street Profits are back. That's fun. I don't know how long they've been called the Sultans of Swag, though. Hate that. And they went straight into a match against Ziggler and Rude. Hello 2020, nice to see you again. Profits won in a quick match. Bianca Belair faced Zelina Vega in their championship contenders match next. God, I hate that stipulation so much. Banks causes a distraction, which gives Vega control, but Bianca fights back, and she wins. Cool. And then we got Balor versus Corbin after another recap of that contract signing, and Corbin tries to apologize for his actions for last week, but Balor does not accept his apology and beats him up, and then he wins. Balor then cut a promo after, which I thought was pretty good. He said that the Finn Balor of 3 years ago would have just smiled and accepted what happened last week, but this Finn Balor isn't smiling anymore. He wants his Universal Championship match, and if he has to go through Cena to get it, that's what he'll do. He's interrupted by Roman Reigns, who comes out to say that Balor should keep his name out of his mouth, but Balor was saying how he wanted to still fight you for the title, and he didn't want Cena to, which is what Roman also wants, but Roman now doesn't want Balor doing that either? I'm confused. Balor pushes Roman out of the ring, but then gets attacked by the Usos, who he manages to fight off, but then gets assaulted 3-on-1 with Roman and gets beaten up, and John Cena did not make the save. I'm telling you, He's a heel. That was a show. Let me know what you thought in the comments and by voting in our poll on a poll match on our community tab, where 87% of you voted for Edge versus Rollins confirmed. Boy, this show, it wasn't bad. It was just incredibly boring. Nothing really happened aside from a couple matches being confirmed that we already knew were going to be confirmed. What do I even rate this show? It's inoffensive aside from the championship contender stuff, which is still the stupidest thing I've ever heard. So by default, it's a 3 out of 5, but really I want to give it lower because it's not good. I don't know, man. I'm done. Number scores are dumb anyway. They don't matter. Do you know what is good though? It's the return of fantasy booking warfare. You can check out this little clip that I'm about to play to check out Ollie Davis versus Alex Queen of the Ring as they fantasy book Daniel Bryan's AEW debut, and you guys get to vote who the winner is. Go check out this video right now on Parts of Unknown.
We've decided to create a fantasy booking single elimination tournament. 8 players, 7 matches to crown the first ever PFK Fantasy Booking Warfare champion. I don't know if they've done Fantasy Booking Warfare champions in the past. I've only worked here a bit.